My name is Ersin Akarlar. The name of the company is Mavi Jeans. I'm Turkish originally. Over the last 20 years, my company is now almost 20 years, we're one of the few companies that started in Turkey that expanded globally. So, and we do the business in the US as well as in Western Europe. I think I could share some of the experiences that I had while, some of the mistakes and the challenges and the successes that we've had. But I mean, what I can say, we looked at that time, although we had a couple of retail stores and we were definitely the leading brand in Turkey. I think that's one of the critical things. By 1996, like 5 years into the business, we've already captured a good part of the local market. And just as a reminder, I think there could be some similarities to Mexico as well. Some, not all. Where Turkey, all over the 70s and especially in the 80s, have been a big manufacturing country. So this was really about the turning points, like beginning of 90s, where there was a local consumer market just happening, and we saw this. Actually, Levi's saw this way, earlier than us. Like McDonald's came to Turkey in '86. And Levi's was in '87 or '88, like right after that, setting up really not for production, but to be able to sell the denim, their brand to the consumer. So this was really kind of a turning point for us and many other brands to just see, okay, this is what you can do here as well. So it took us really 5 years though to separate from the pack, if you will, that started and became the market leader in Turkey. So that was critical, which we felt that we were ready, that we could attack outside.
You gotta really like the market that you're thinking about. Paul Smith is extremely successful in Japan because he had a passion, even before he had done business anywhere else other than the UK, he had a passion for Japan. And it's said that Paul has been to Japan over 300 times, which is kind of funny because he has about 300 points of distribution. But he has an extremely successful business because, as the founder of the business, he had a passion. This man has a passion for the United States. A lot of that has to do with, when you're an entrepreneur, is a passion. Because going into an international country without the advantages that we have, which is large country, you have to work it as if you have no other local market yourself. So you have a local market in Brazil, that's great, perfect. But now you're going into another country that hopefully they've heard of you, hopefully they love you, hopefully they appreciate it, but it's a whole nother sales job. You gotta think about, forget everything you know about Brazil, or think about what you know from Turkey or somewhere, and now you have to say, okay, now I'm putting my mind, my cap on, and I'm thinking about what do I have to do to be relevant in that market? Do I have to change my price points? Do I have to change my sizing? Do I have to look at how my advertising is? What is the perception if I'm going into the Middle East about color and skin and how photographs and what I can photograph and those sort of things. All of those things have to be considered as you go into a market.
One other thing that worked very well, when we could find the right partner, because local markets needs a local partner, and I'm not sure, because it could be anywhere from a distributor, a licensee, or your own company. We chose in our key markets, which are, like US, Canada, and Western Europe. These are huge consumers of denim. If you just put these two places, they make up about, I think, 65% of denim market in the world. Although, China is big and, India is growing, you still have 2/3 of the market in these two places. So we looked at these are key marketplaces. So we went ahead and made the investment and set up our own businesses in these places, while bringing in a local partner as a minority partner that would be running the business, knows the place. So that worked both in US and Canada, and also our European model has been like that. But that doesn't mean that was the only model, because when we look at Australia, which came later on, which was so far away, and to set up a business there in a smaller market, although again I liked the place and traveled there and had connections there, it was a better of a licensee model, because we wouldn't be traveling there and I mean, we couldn't be that close just because of the physical distance and also the climate differences and all that. So it's not like, you know, there's no only one good model of your subsidiary with a small partner. Nordstrom's first order from us, this is Christmas for December, was 24 pairs for one store. I thought it was ridiculous as a test as well. I mean, there's such a big chance of failure if you just put one store. I think it was either one or two stores, and I remember 24 pairs because I personally carried those goods from Turkey because I was there traveling and it was in my bags and they came in as samples without and then, I mean, we delivered them so that it was on time, so that it was for their, you know, Christmas selling. So I mean, it's really depends a lot on luck as well, and, you know, it went very well, and the next order was for a couple of hundred pieces, and there it goes on. So it really wasn't this, you know, strategy. We didn't have the monies to advertise and all that. I mean, considering what the size of the business at that time was, it was really going to those right distributors that would talk in the marketplace even before going to the consumer. Then the word was up to Nordstrom and alike, and from then on we were able to get the volume and then do our, you know, PR marketing that would come after that.
How do you think e-commerce plays into this discussion? And you see it all over the world, so, you know.
I think it's important no matter what size company you are. It could be big for you if you're a big brand. It's your largest retail store, typically, by several percentages. It's your most profitable store because you don't have the US markdowns and the take-backs and all of those things. But also if you're a small company, it allows people to seek you out.
It's another distribution channel. So it is like wholesale is different from retail. As a wholesaler, if you want to retail, you really have to do it, and it's like as if you have another company. And e-commerce is not much different than that. You cannot just, you know, set up a website and put a, you know, shopping cart there and click and think that, you know, that is enough. That is a start, but it's like, you know, opening a store, which is not being a retailer. Like you can run a store, but being a retailer is a little further into it. So I think that there is that challenge there where, you know, one really has to look at it, if I might borrow your words, like with a passion. Like this is a very important part of my strategy, and I will do that for this and this reasons, and invest your time into it. We manufacture most of our denim, I would say almost all of our denim still, but everything else that we sell, which is in Turkey about 50% of our business in retail is denim, and the other 50 is anywhere from outerwear, t-shirts, sweaters, accessories. We have them manufactured everywhere around the world.
Yeah, I asked a question about, do you think that that's a sustainable model? Do you not sometimes get into a panic about this? When we first started, before I became an Endeavour entrepreneur, we were a design house, we had our own manufacturing, and we were retailing as well. We've recently gone into the wholesale business. And one of the things that our mentors were saying is you've got to distill who you are and what you do, and not be all of those businesses. Do you ever get into panics about being all of those businesses, or do you think that's part of growth?
I totally agree that they need to be separate, but they can be together. How our structure is, it's two separate businesses from day one. I mean, like when we set up Mavi, we set it up as a separate company with its separate organization, with its separate accounting, if you will, a corporation. Although it was in the same building, you know, it was just one room, but it was separate from day one. So, and then, you know, the manufacturing is now, it's even more separate now. It's totally different places, like physically, as long as they're separate, and they have, the shareholders could be the same or could be similar, but the businesses should be looked at as separate businesses, which is a hard one, because if you know, there's a good enough, you know, a big amount of transaction in between, there's definitely transfer pricing and all that one needs to handle, but it is doable. I mean, it is, as long as the leaders are different and they have their own budgets and all that, they could do that.
I have a question. How tempting is to jump to another concept? I mean, would you, all of a sudden, what happens if somebody proposed to you, let's do a home collection, or let's do a furniture collection? I mean, how do you stay away or just keep focused on what you do?
The problem is, at the end of the day, you know, should we be focusing on doing what we're doing today, and those are bigger benefits to the company and a brand versus diverting our mind and our attention to another category. And if we do divert our mind and time to another category, how does it pay off for the brand? It can't just, it has to have this scale where it has to pay off both financially and from a brand perspective. Because, as he was saying, you know, you get into these partnerships and you think they're really great, but they're not you. So you know, they're manufacturing, they know their product category, they know furniture better than you, lamps better than you, but at the end of the day, are they a brand company? Can they speak juicy? Can they act juicy? Can they live juicy? They're going to hire the people that you want. And so you've got to have a lot of trust that they're going to be able to do that, and they're going to do it financially responsibly, and it's going to pay off for the brand. If you go into a new category and it isn't successful, now at Juicy we can make some mistakes at this point, because if I introduced a little line of jewelry, you know what? The business is so big, it wouldn't be. But for your business, or some smaller businesses, every time you touch the consumer, it's an impact. And a bad impact, not good.